Good morning. This is Dr. Yogesh Agrawal, Associate Professor, Sagar Institute of Research and Technology, Bhopal. Today I will discuss about the topic steam condenser and its types. Before going on the main slide, today I will discuss about the outline, definition of the steam condenser, function of condenser, elements of the condensing plant, advantages of the condenser, vacuum creation in the steam condenser, effect of condenser pressure on the Rankine cycle. This is the definition. It is a device in which the steam is condensed to a water form at a pressure less than the atmosphere. It can be done by the removing the heat from the exhaust steam using the circulating cooling water. The working substance change its phases from the vapor to liquid and reject the latent heat. And the exhaust pressure in the condenser, which is maintained nearly about the 7 to 8 kilopascal, which is correspondent to the condensate temperature of nearly 313 Kelvin. What is the function of condenser? Main function of the condenser is to condense of the steam which will be passes through the turbine after the turbine exhaust pressure so as to increase the specific output and hence increase the plant efficiency, decrease the specific steam consumption. To condense the exhaust steam from the turbine and reuse it is a pure feed water in the boiler. This is the main function. Thus only makeup the water is required to compensate loss of the water. Enables removal of the air and the other non-condensable gases from the steam, hence the improved heat transfer. What are the elements of the condensing plant? Condenser, air extraction pump, condensate extraction pump, cooling water circulating pump, hot well, cooling tower, makeup water pump, boiler feed pump. So this is the diagram in which all the elements are describing here. So that's why here steam which will be exhausted from there to the atmosphere and air will be exhausted through this point. So this is the diagram for the condensing plant where all the elements are clearly shown here. This is the condenser unit where the steam is coming from the turbine side and going into the condenser where it will be condensed by the cooling medium. And this condensate water which are supplying from the cooling tower side after the taking of the heat from the steam which is coming from the turbine side, it will be recirculated to the cooling tower. When the hot water is converted, cooled water is converted into the hot water and supplied to the again cooling tower side, and from the cooling tower the water will be cooled manner after the exchanging of the heat between of the two fluids, hot and the cold fluids. And this cold water which is supplied to the condenser unit, and this condenser unit work as a condensing accessories which are using for the condensing of the hot substance which are passing through the turbine sides. And after that here condensate which are collecting from the condenser unit, it will be extracted from the condensate extracted pump and accumulate in the hot well side. This is the hot well unit where after the condensation or the condensate which are collected from the condenser unit side, and this condensate which are using of such as the hot well and hot fluid which are coming from the hot well side which are passing through the boiler feed pump into the boiler unit. So this is the basic functioning of the condensing plant, and the extra water which are supplying from their side, river side, which are supplying if the sufficient quantity of the water which are not available in the cooling tower and not supplied to the condenser unit for the condensing of the steam, then the makeup water which are supplying from the river side and using the pump and supplying to the condenser unit. So this is the basic functioning of the condensing unit, condensing plant. What are the advantages of a condenser, steam condenser? It increases the work output per kg of the steam supplied to the power plant. It also reduces the specific steam consumption, therefore reduces the size of the power plant of the given capacity. It improves the thermal efficiency. It affects the saving in the cost of the water to be supplied to the boiler. Since the condensate is returned to the boiler, cost of the water softening plant which are also reduced since the pure feed water is available for the boiler. What are the sources of the air in the condenser? The ambient air leaks to the condenser chamber at the joints and the glands, which are internally under pressure lower than that of the ambient. Another source of air is the dissolved air with feed water. The dissolved air in the feed water enters in the boiler and it travels with the steam into the condenser unit. What are the effect of the air leakage? The presence of the air lower vacuum in the condenser, thus back pressure of the plant increases and consequently the work output decreases. Air has a very poor thermal conductivity, hence the rate of the heat transfer from the vapor to the cooling medium, which is the reduce. The presence of the air in the condenser corrodes to the metal surface, therefore the life of the condenser is reduced. How many types of the vacuum creation in the condenser? When the steam condenses in the closed vessel, the vapor phase of the working substance changes to the liquid phase and thus specific volume reduced to more than the 1000 times. Due to the change in the specific volume, the specific absolute pressure in the condenser falls below the atmospheric pressure and a high vacuum is created. So that's why, because of the steam will be exhausted from the turbine unit, and the turbine unit, when the steam passes through the condenser unit, it will be condensed into the lowest pressure and it will be achieve a vacuum condition. This minimum pressure that can be attained depends on the temperature of the condensate and the air present in the condenser. So that's why the absolute pressure is equal to the atmospheric pressure minus the vacuum gauge reading in the condenser side. What are the condenser pressure effect on the Rankine cycle? If the lowering of the condenser pressure will increase the area enclosed by the cycle on a TS diagram, which are the depicted in here, which indicate that the network will be increased. Thus, the thermal efficiency of the cycle will be increased. Lowering the back pressure causes an increase in the moisture content of the steam leaving the turbine. Increase in the moisture content of the steam in the low pressure stages, there is a decrease in the efficiency and the erosion of the blade may be a very serious problem. And also the pump work will be required will be high. So this is the diagram, TS diagram, in which the condenser pressure will be decreased and this condenser pressure will improve the work done. So that the increasing of the moisture contents, lowering of the back pressure causes the increasing of the moisture content. So this is the diagram where the condenser pressure is reducing from this line to this line. So this is the theoretical pressure. This is the actual pressure where the increasing of the or the lowering of the pressure or the increasing in the W net. The W net will be increased after the decreasing of the condenser pressure. Then increase in the moisture content of the steam in a low pressure stage, there is a decrease in efficiency and erosion of the blade may be of serious problem. So it will be of the serious problem when the increasing of the moisture content or condenser unit is it will be increased. So that's why the lowering of the condenser pressure will increase the thermal efficiency if the pressure will be reduced from this unit. And because of the increase of the net work done in the cycle, that's why increasing of the net work done, that's why the thermal efficiency of the condensing plant will be increased. So this is the total plant working where the 3 to 4 that is called the expansion work in the turbine, 4 to 1 is the condensation, and 1 to 2 that is called the pump work, 1 dash to 2 dash that is called the actual pump work. So this is the diagram where the all the processing of the condensing plant and the thermal power plant, which will be depicted in the TS diagram, showing the all the process very frequently. So this is the today lecture.